Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I am one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the Haunted, the
Ooh.
the Valis Micus. No, that didn't work.
I don't like that.
The Slayer of Worlds. Nope. My favorite co-host on the Citadel, the Nightmare Josh Finney.
The Nightmare? Sir, excuse me.
Look, I was trying something for the new season. It didn't work.
It did not.
We're just keep going.
We're vibing tonight. We're just vibing.
We are. Look, it's a new season of Destiny. It's Star Wars Celebration. It's a Thursday. Obi-Wan drops tomorrow. Okay, we're very excited for things.
I'm genuinely debating if I'm going to stay up tonight to watch Obi-Wan.
I thought about it, but I was like...
avoid getting spoiled. I know it'll be like... And there's 2 episodes, so I know that like if I do this, I'm making a commitment to not get anything accomplished in the morning.
Yeah, I thought about it, but then I'm on the East Coast, so it would be 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I'm not staying up until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Watching it from 2 to 4 is going to be rough. So I may just watch like the first episodes. That way, like I have like a buffer for spoilers, and then like sleep for a few hours. And as soon as Chelsea gets home, like right as she goes in to like take a shower in the morning, like boom, I'm going to watch like as much of episode 2 as I can before she goes to bed.
Yeah.
Just so like she doesn't think that I watched it without her.
Yeah.
Because otherwise she was like, "You're going to wait for me, right?" I'm like, dude, you work Thursday, Friday, and that means you'll be asleep all day Saturday. I'm not waiting till Saturday night to watch this. I will get spoiled. I don't think you understand. Like, it's celebration weekend. I am on the internet all weekend right now. Like, I watched the Andor trailer earlier. I was listening to all the remarks about Mando season 3, all the stuff about Skeleton Crew, like Jude Law's in Star Wars. That's awesome. Like, I'll take that.
So what's the Skeleton Crew show?
Nobody really knows. That's the one that John Watts from the Spider-Man trilogy, right. He decided not to do Fantastic Four because he was working on this show. Wow, he is writing, directing, and show running it.
Well, I mean,
but it is supposed to be 4 like young teenagers, like 13, 14 years old, I think, that are like on the run or something, and Jude Law is a central character in the show. Basically, he pitched it as like Star Wars, or like the Goonies, but Star Wars, and I'm totally here for that.
Okay.
Which means in like 30 years, one of them is going to play a megalomaniac supervillain who's going to try and erase half the universe, and another one is going to play a very famous hobbit.
Okay.
It's a reference to Sean Astin and Josh Brolin for anybody who doesn't know the Goonies.
I don't. I've never seen the Goonies. So.
Well, Sean Astin and Josh Brolin were both in it. It was like their first. It was like their first movie, and now, well, everybody knows them. One of them went on to become Rudy.
Rudy. So, one of the most boring movies I've ever
Rudalicious. We had to watch that so much. God, it was terrible. I did not enjoy it.
Look, as someone who played football for a long time, Rudy was boring. So, just gonna throw that out there. Anyways,
Corey, we have a really big show though.
We have a lot of show tonight, Josh.
We have a lot of show tonight. Not a big swap, thank God. So we're just gonna like gloss over that, but a lot of stuff in game to talk about.
We have a lot of questions.
We do. We have several questions. We have some pod feedback. Excited to get to all of that. Pod feedback. Yes. Hashtag Josh was right. It's a thing. It's gonna be a thing.
Usually,
I don't like. Yeah, I mean, so of course we had a new season come out on Tuesday. It was kind of humorous on Monday night when the Japanese PlayStation account accidentally leaked the trailer, and I was unaware that it was happening. Like all of a sudden, I just see people screaming like, "I'm going dark! I can't watch anything for Destiny!" And I was like, "Wait, what's happening?" Like you're making a really big deal out of something that won't be revealed till tomorrow. And then Andre messaged me and was like, "Hey, by the way, the trailer leaked from PlayStation Japan. If you want a link to it." And I'm just like, no, you know what? I'm not going to do anything. And like, right, Andre sends me that. I messaged you to be like, by the way, the trailer just leaked. And then all of a sudden Bungie was just like, fuck it, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's the trailer. I don't know what I expected this season. So we said last week that we knew the name of the season. It had gotten data mined as Season of the Haunted. So I kind of was like, oh, well, you know, maybe we'll go back to the moon. Like, I don't know if we're going to go back. Like, the pyramid is just kind of chilling there. Mm-hmm. And we never really did anything with the nightmares past the Shadowkeep campaign. And, yeah, the Leviathan is glyconified. But, you know, we're going to get to all that in just a second. We're going to break down some of the story. It's kind of like a timeline of how this week went, I guess. That happens Monday night. Tuesday, we're all booting up. We're all jumping in, having a great time. I was actually playing with Nerd Generalist, and then, of course, everybody in the world's feeds drastically changed.
Right.
You know, I live in Texas, so it's been hitting home with us. This is like the third or fourth mass shooting that has happened for us in the last couple of years. The second or third, to my knowledge, that has happened since, you know, certain restrictions were rolled back in our state. And this isn't me, you know, getting up on my high horse to preach about gun safety or, you know, gun control and things like that. I will leave much better people to talk about those things. I do encourage everybody to watch the video of Steve Kerr before Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals on Tuesday. Yeah. And it's critical for everyone to watch. And I would also encourage Beto O'Rourke's response to the leadership in Texas when he confronted them on Wednesday morning.
I would also encourage you to watch Jimmy Kimmel's as well. I know. Yeah,
I haven't been able to get I heard Kimmel's monologue was incredible last night. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet myself.
Dude. I was like crying like halfway through it. It was.
I'm fucking drained, guys.
Yeah.
You know, I know we kind of glossed over, and it wasn't just because I didn't want to talk about it. Buffalo last week. If we took a time at the beginning of every single show to talk about every mass shooting, we would literally open every single show like this.
Yeah.
Like that's how bad it's gotten. I know we have, you know, somewhat of an international audience, but that's how bad it's gotten in the States, and like, you know, Texas in particular seems to be the epicenter of a lot of this shit. Mm-hmm. And this one kind of hits home for me a little bit. I actually I have visited the town of Uvalde before. I was there, God, 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago. In another life, I was an assistant to a youth pastor. I did a lot of video work and editing for him and whatnot. And we were driving through to go to a smaller town, probably about 45 minutes outside of Uvalde. And we stopped there because he and his brother had actually grown up in that town. He showed us the exact house he had grown up in and everything else. And it was a really cool moment. I was like, wow, you know, you came from this really small town, like, well, small to me, you know, being from Dallas.
Right.
Even though I grew up in the suburbs of Dallas, like, oh, well, my town was bigger than this. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean,
it was kind of wild to be in a,
like, still big.
I mean, I lived probably about 35, 40 minutes outside of Dallas. So, like, and it was before, like, the big boom of the southern suburbs there.
Right.
This was kind of a unique experience for me, though, being in a town of about 15,000 people at the time. And when the news first came out, I didn't see where it was. I was just like, oh, God damn it. You know, it's at an elementary school. A good friend of mine, his wife is an elementary school teacher. And, you know, I'm immediately, like, trying to figure out where it is. And my heart just sank realizing that that's where it was. You know, a Hispanic town. And of course, you know, my first thought was, is this another white supremacist? Mm-hmm. Like, is that what this is? Because that is a largely Hispanic town. Is that what this was? And then, you know, it seems like every hour on the hour we get more horrifying details about what happened and about how things went down, about how police did not respond. I'm not going to say how they responded, how they did not respond to the situation, literally tasering and handcuffing parents who were begging them to go in there. Mm-hmm. It's horrifying. It's a complete and utter collapse of leadership. But there's something that was said, and I forget who said it. They said it probably back in 2015, 2016, and it has just, like, haunted me ever since. The minute that we decided we were okay, in the aftermath of Sandy Hook, that we decided we were okay with seeing little children gunned down, is the minute we basically lost our soul as a nation. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's anything inaccurate about that. Like, we made, we talked about women's rights a few weeks ago, right? And we've talked about Black Lives Matter in the past. We've talked about, the LGBTQ community and how we have to be better allies to them. We have to prioritize our citizens over a gun. Why are our children not the most important priority?
Right.
And I just like I've seen solutions which include barricading every door at schools and putting 2 armed officers at the doors. Let me tell you something. This is a fucking elementary school. This isn't a fucking supermax prison, okay? This isn't Guantanamo Bay. Okay? Nobody's trying to escape from New York this shit. These are children. Our children should not have to go to school and do active shooter drills and lockdown drills. I don't even have kids, and I'm fucking infuriated. I can't imagine how it must feel as a parent to send your child every day and for your 5-year-old to have to learn where to hide in the classroom if somebody comes in with a gun.
Right.
Or how to get out, or how to fight back. That's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I know. I haven't stopped.
I'm getting angry and riled up, and I know this is supposed to be, an escape from everything, but this is fucking reality.
Yeah.
I'm tired of having to turn on the news or, scroll through my feed and see that, 10 people were gunned down today by an assault weapon. We're the only fucking country in the world that's happened. Schools in Pakistan and Afghanistan are statistically safer to go to than they are in America. That should not happen in the, quote, greatest country in the world.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I am sorry, and I'm not sorry. I'm sorry for getting so riled up, but I gotta get that off my chest. I don't know how else to let it off. It's just, if you're not like filled with righteous fury right now, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say to you. Like, if you are not absolutely infuriated by the Buffalo incident and by the Uvalde incident, I mean, for fuck's sake, yesterday, police 20 minutes from my house arrested a student who had an AK-47 in his car. Like, yep. Why do you need these things? Why on earth do you need weapons? Why do you need this?
Well,
that's not hunting. That's not a hunting weapon. Like,
it's like when I was talking to my wife earlier. When they made the Second Amendment, they were literally using like Zwiffers to load metal balls into their guns.
Yes.
Right? And it was more convenient to fight with a sword than a gun. Right? When they wrote that amendment.
And I will also say, like, part of the context of the Second Amendment is, in a well-regulated militia is part of that amendment.
Yeah.
That's part of it. In a well-regulated militia. There's nothing well-regulated about half of the states where you can just get these weapons. Like, and I hate the Chicago fallacy of, well, look at Chicago. You guys are not right about Chicago. Chicago actually has really strict gun laws, but they can drive 20 minutes into Indiana and buy an automatic weapon and come right back.
Right.
I don't know what has to happen in this country, but something at the federal level, it has to happen. And, like, listen, there are a handful of elected representatives who are genuinely trying to do something, but most of them are like, well, we can't do anything. We're more concerned about people holding up a cardboard sign outside of somebody's house than we are about literal kids getting fucking murdered.
Right.
And, we're going to take a week and a half long recess, by the way, so fuck y'all. We're going to move on in just a second. It's just, I want, like, if the reality of it is not hitting you, like, wake the fuck up. Yeah. Like, collectively as a society, we have got to win. And that's not like, like the people who listen to Tower Casuals. Like, no, like, collectively as a society, we have got to wake the fuck up. This is ridiculous. Yeah. This is absurd. It's obscene. It's horrifying. And I can't believe how many people are arguing this in, like, the name of religion.
Right.
I promise you, your God does not love weapons more than he loves children and he loves the innocent. I promise you, whatever religion you are a part of.
Right. I just,
So
I just, as somebody who's tirelessly been watching this stuff because that's it's my job. It's been exhausting.
yeah,
To the point where like I'm already past mad. At first I was horrified, and then I was angry, and then I was sad, and then I went back to angry, and now I'm just tired. Right.
And that's where I'm at. Like I'm angry, bordering on exhausted, because I feel like there is no escape. There is no escape from this, because that is the reality of American life right now. Like, I remember when the Aurora shootings happened, when The Dark Knight Rises came out, and I was 19 at the time. I think I was 19 or 20. I have not gone to a movie since where I have not thought to myself, when I see somebody walk in with a backpack, fuck, is that guy going to shoot me?
I know. We don't.
What is the quickest way to get my girlfriend out of here and for me to get out of here? Like, I have a bum leg. Like, how the fuck am I going to get out of here?
Yeah.
Like,
that's why my wife and I don't go to movies any. Like, we rarely. Like, I can't tell you the last time we went to a movie together, right?
Yeah.
So
I should not have to have those thoughts.
No.
Just going out in America, you should not have to have those thoughts. Like, and like, another point, like, when I think about what happened, obviously I'm mad, but I'm getting madder at the details that are coming out with how police did not act, like we said earlier.
Yeah.
And I just think, so y'all have a fucking SWAT team in this town of 16,000 people, and the SWAT team was more preoccupied with preventing parents from going inside. And, they barricaded the shooter in a room, but it was a room full of fucking kids? Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
Are you actually kidding me? Like, you cannot agree with how the laws are in this country right now and still have the absolute fucking audacity to say you care about all lives. You don't. You don't fucking care. We have guys dying from traffic stops quicker than those SWAT teams decided to move in.
Yeah.
Fucking traffic stops. Like, our friends, that are, non-white, that are Hispanic or black, like, are terrified to get pulled over by police or to get stopped randomly, because they may not survive that. Okay? As we've seen by numerous dash cam and body cam footages over the years. And those are just the ones that we've seen. But no, we're going to wait 45 fucking minutes to go in and save a school full of kids from a guy who's just walking room to room with an assault rifle.
Two of them.
That he was able to get for throwing $100 down at the gun store on a credit card.
Right.
Days past his 18th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
That it should not be easier to go buy an assault rifle than it is to register to vote. Than it is to find your polling place. Than it is to buy a beer when you're 21. You have to wait longer to buy a lottery ticket or to get beer in the state of Texas than you can to go get a handgun. You can't even get a handgun until you're 21, but you can go buy an AR-15 at 18.
Right. That's so messed up, dude.
It's fucking ludicrous. And I just... Corey, do we have any fun? If we do this, I'll sit here all night because I'm so hyping on.
I just don't even know what to say anymore, man. I feel like we do this we do this once every couple of weeks, every couple of months or whatever, and it's just I'm really tired of it. And the message is that something needs to be done, but these fucking Republicans that are holding these gun control laws hostage in the Senate, because they're too...
It's worth noting, there are two Democrats holding it up also, and I'll fucking call them out. Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. If you live in West Virginia or in Arizona, you better be blowing up their fucking phone lines right now.
Yeah, well...
They are also holding this up right now.
It's just like... Just because you want to hold power, you're going to sacrifice kids or innocent people.
You're going to sacrifice kids. You're going to sacrifice minorities.
Elderly people who are going grocery shopping. Grocery shopping?
Yeah.
Look, schools...
You should not have to be scared to go to a Kroger in this country.
School is supposed to be the safest place for your kids, man.
Yes. Yes.
That's all I have to say. And if you think any differently, then you need to rethink a lot of things.
Yes.
That includes people in power. That includes people who aren't in power. That includes people who listen to this show. That includes people.
Yeah.
It includes everybody. That's all I have to say. I
want to add one addendum before we're out of here, and that is, I know how crushing that the complete onslaught of depressing news is. It just in the last 3 months alone, we've had to talk about the invasion of Ukraine. We've had to talk about the stripping of women's rights. We've had to deal with the news that, we're going to move on from book banning to trying to ban, any discussion of, LGBTQ themes with students of any age from high school on down. We are now having to deal with 2 mega mass shootings. Okay, because a mass shooting is defined by 2 or more victims. 2 in mega mass shootings here. 12 or more victims at each. And there's just, it doesn't seem like we're dealing with an economy that is in a death spiral. The price of gasoline is going up. It is impossible to buy a home. Like, just all these things. Please, I cannot urge this enough. Like, I'm having to remind myself this. Please take care of your mental health. It is insanely important. Like, I personally, like, I had an absolute meltdown earlier this week. With everything. I lashed out to a situation that probably did not warrant me having as a breakdown as I did. I had a lot of people asking me, hey man, are you okay? And I was not. I 100% was not. And this was on Tuesday night. This was in the aftermath of just everything on Tuesday. And I was like, no, I'm not okay. Like, I'm not. And, like, a lot of it was because I had emotions from things other than this, but that just amplified them. Like, I had to literally wait until I wanted an email clarification on something. I had to wait until yesterday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, to even email the person in question, because I just was so mad with so many different things that I was like, if I had written that email, it would have come from a place of anger. And I probably would have said things that would have just completely torched my professional relationship with this company. So please, 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 please take care of yourself. Please take care of your own mental health. It is not, if anybody tells you, if anybody questions, well, what are you struggling? Like, why are you struggling with this? Fuck off. Just fuck off. It's hard. There is always something happening. It is always negative. So much of our social media is negative as it is. So much of our media is negative. And these incidents just amplify and amplify and amplify. Because we have to talk about them, right? And it's a lot. I don't have all the answers, but, like, do not be afraid to talk to a therapist or to a counselor. Do not be afraid to tell your doctor, hey, I am having a lot of trouble. I'm struggling with something. Is there anything you can give me that might help me out a little bit? Just take the edge off even a little bit. Because I promise you, trying to go it alone eventually will crush you. And it took me years to understand that. Like, I'm currently grappling. My therapist is not around for the summer. I see a clinician at the local university. She's gone for the summer. I'm highly debating about scheduling a one-off appointment with literally anyone who is available to talk to me right now.
Yeah.
Because of just the weight of everything. Like, just go in and have, like, an hour-long session. Like, if you are strapped for money, that is an avenue that I encourage you to take, is go to your university. If they have a psychology department, say, hey, do you have PhD students who are, getting counseling hours done here? I really need to see somebody and talk to somebody. If it's anything like my school, they are being supervised by professors the entire time. I cannot recommend it enough. But with all that said, we're going to abruptly have a shift here and talk about the new season of this great game that we all love playing. The whole reason that we're here. We're going to talk about a new season. We're going to talk about some Solar 3.0. We're going to talk a little bit about the weapons. Like, we're going to kind of treat this like every other season, just a little bit of a roadmap. We are going to just kind of like overview of it this week. Next week, we're going to try and talk Dungeon and new Iron Banner reworks with Rift, the new map, all that. The week after is probably where we're really going to dive into the weapons. And then we'll go from there. We'll do some lore as it gets uncovered in the API. Like, I've unlocked a few pieces, and especially with the weapons, and none of it's allowed to go out in the API update yet. So I can't pull it up from my computer or from the app or anything. And I don't have my game turned on, so that's a problem. my Xbox is in the other room, so.
How dare you keep your Xbox in the other room?
How dare I use the the OLED that I paid for. So Corey, let's talk for a minute.
Yeah, let's talk.
Season of the Haunted. As soon as it starts loading up, and you see that the helm is going to space, what is the thought that goes through your mind when you see that chunky boy?
I said I can't wait until Thursday to say we were right.
Yes, and I actually hashtag Josh was right. I actually was cracking up because I just had this huge reaction to it, and I was just like, "Oh my god, the helm!" Like in both caps, like throwing my hands up in the air, like I can't believe that this is happening. And Sammy Gobo actually tweeted at me, was like, "My boy predicted it." My first thought when seeing the helm this season was like, "Oh my god, Josh was right." That's right. Hashtag Josh was right.
Yeah.
Knowing that Callus is back, and when you walk in, the first thing that you see when you're in the Leviathan is, okay, so we're in the Cast. It took me a second to realize where we were. I was in there with Nerd Generalist, and he pointed out, he was like, "Dude, we're in the Castellum.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the Leviathan raid. This is so cool." And how you have to take the path to get there. You have to take some of the hidden tunnels, and you get up to Callus's throne room and everything, and the Callus robot is still just chilling there.
Yeah, like rotting away.
The destroyed one.
Yeah,
we're just rotting away. It's very Glycon-esque, and now we're getting the feeling that, okay, this is probably what areas that have been touched by the darkness are going to look like going forward with these spores and having to shoot the spores to get the overshields and whatnot.
How did you feel about the haunted nightmare cabal?
Fucking Galran terrified me, dude. I'm running.
Yeah.
We thought we could fight him, and then we found out he was invincible, and we both died immediately.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened to me?
We had to redo that section like twice.
You know what happened to me is I started doing the mission, and I switched over to Solar because I was like, oh, let me play with the new Solar stuff, right? And I know we're gonna get into it later, but so I'm sitting there shooting the guys standing up by Callus, right? I'm shooting the guys where it just says survive, and then all of a sudden you just hear Eris yell run, and then the all caps run pops up on your screen. So I'm running, right? And I'm running. I'm like, half health. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make it. And then you see like the little mushroom spore thing that you have to punch from the Presage mission to run through the barrier. I start and I see the big cabal guy chasing me. So I'm like trying to punch it. I'm throwing hammers at it. I'm just throwing hammers at it. My Titan will not punch. He will just throw hammers, and I died. It was awful. It was scary. I'm like, just let me punch. Too many hammers thrown, Josh. Too many hammers. It was fine though.
Too many hammers. It's a wild mission though, and your ship is like right outside the doors, and you're like, dude, Eris was telling us to run. Why are we not still running? Like that invincible guy did not just stop chasing us.
Yeah.
And like I'm trying to like jump into the ship, and I'm like, let's go, let's get out of here, let's run.
Right.
Eris's freaky little ritual, okay, and we're going to talk about the little artifact that she makes, the little like Touch of Malice dream catcher. We're going to talk about that as we get farther to the episode. That's actually going to be the focus of our lore corner tonight. But she binds. Kaido refuses to do it, so clearly that opens up for the Guardian to do it. And I want to address a question that I've seen a lot on social media, because when Zavala is there, you see the image of somebody behind him, and at first in the trailer I thought it was Mara, but it's very clearly I think meant to be Zavala's wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's.
I feel like that's supposed to be Zavala's wife.
If
you remember, we talked about her in the lore a couple seasons ago.
Yep.
And then Crow, obviously his nightmare is of Uldren.
Yeah.
I saw people being like, "Oh, well, Eris and the Guardian don't have anybody." And well, that's because in the Xenophage mission, we exorcised Eris's demons. It was her fire team.
Mm-hmm.
And we dealt with ours during Shadowkeep as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're bound. But hearing Uldren taunt Crow.
Right.
Brendan O'Neill is just doing some incredible voice acting this season.
Right.
I couldn't get over that. Like, the dialogue that you hear while you're doing the public event in the Castellum, and then when you do the Sever mission, is just.
Are we gonna talk? Are we gonna talk about the dialogue with Amanda Holiday at all, or?
Yeah, let's do it. So there's after you do the first steps of the mission, there's of course one of the audio messages that we get every season. You can listen to in the helm, and it's Amanda has found out the truth about who Crow is, and she's hurt. She feels betrayed by him, that he didn't tell her the truth, and she's really lashing out at him and blaming him for Cade's death. And Amanda, I think she understands the concept of a guardian, but I think she also tends to forget. I mean, like, how would you treat it if the person who killed one of your best friends was suddenly walking around with amnesia, right?
Right. Also, Crow's like a unique situation almost, because he's really the only guardian where we know his real past, and everybody knew who he was before he became a guardian. Like, this is super unique. We've talked about it before, but
he is one of the very few guardians that has found out what his past was. Cade, of course, was another thing that links the two of them together, and Anna Bray went on a journey to figure out who she was. So it must just be a Hunter thing, okay? But I really like that, because I feel like that's a storyline that's going to develop over the course of the season.
Right.
Especially when you go into the Sever mission and it's trying to free Crow from the guilt that he's associated with via Aldrin, because he's like, well, we're just the same. I lied to people when I first came to the tower about my past. I kept myself hidden. That's what he would have done, and I don't want to be like that anymore. I was really hoping we would get some glint dialogue there too. I get like getting all the voice actors back is probably a little challenging, but I'm hoping that we get some glint dialogue down the line if each of these missions is going to focus on like Crow and Zavala. And the door is definitely, we're going to deal with Keitel at some point too, because when the ritual is done, Keitel is standing on the bridge of the helm just looking out into space, and you see who I believe to be Gaul behind her. I don't think that's Callus. I think that's Gaul behind her.
No, I think it's the guy who was controlling Gaul from the Red War campaign. That's who I thought it was.
I'm curious. There's been a couple different thoughts. It would make sense for it to be Callus, but Callus isn't dead.
Right. No.
Whereas Gaul is, and her and Gaul basically went to war. The other thought that I had is, and this is just kind of like a far theory, but if we're bringing Zavala's wife into this, I think anything's possible right now. What if it is the Cabal that was possessed by Savathun that ultimately, one of Keitel's closest friends, who ultimately led to the destruction of Tortobal? Would that haunt her? That she was unable to do anything? These are all questions and mysteries that we're going to have as the season unfolds. It will probably take us a while to find out these answers, though. There are 3 characters we have to deal with. The seasonal storylines really seem to have Crow at their center. Like, he is really like the emotional beat of the story at this point.
Right.
And I kind of like that. Like, I like that we took a season off with him in Splicer. He was in the lore. He was kind of watching the Elixni Quarter from a ways away for Zavala. And other than that, though, he's pretty much been the focus since... oh God, what was the name of the season? The Wrathborn Hunt season. God, I'm forgetting.
Season of the Hunt.
The Hunt. He's kind of been the central character since then.
How could you forget that?
Well, I don't know. I just remember it as Wrathborn Hunts, which was terrible. Let's shift gears to this event, though. This public event. This is how, if you're going to do a public event, it needs to be in a contained area, because the Leviathan is free roam, and there are things going on in each of the major areas you can go to. In the Castellum, in the Royal Pools, and in the Pleasure Gardens. There are things going on in all 3. This is a really cool event, though, because as people load in, they automatically see the event going on. They run over. Like, loot for everyone.
Right.
And I mean, we can talk about the loot a little bit later, because I have some bones to pick on... surprise, red borders again. But I like that when you finish a tier 3, it'll take you about 15 minutes or so to get through a tier 3. to get through all the tiers,
Right.
because you have to go in a circle around the arena.
Mhm.
I think it's a little bit too much time investment for such a little reward. When I first did it, I was like, oh, well, you get the normal chest, and then if you have 500, I don't even know what we call them. I'm just going to call them haunted bucks. If you have 15, if you have 500 haunted bucks,
Spooky
you can
bucks.
turn them in, and you get two drops, and you get 6 or 7 haunted umbral energies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great that you get 6 or 7 of those, because this is about the only way that you can get them initially. I think there's going to be things that'll let you get them through playlist activities eventually when you upgrade the Crown of Sorrow. But it costs 27 umbral energies to specifically pick which weapon you want to craft. I said it last season when it was 9 energy that I thought that was ridiculous. 27 is fucking ludicrous.
That's so dumb.
If you were giving me like 5 or 6 in every activity that I did, I probably would not complain at all. But 27, that is, for those keeping score at home, that is 4 tier 3 runs you have to do to be able to decrypt one weapon. Now you can do the engram. I should be clear. You can decrypt the engram for 7 once you unlock the decryption. But that is absolutely ludicrous. I cannot believe that it costs 27 umbral energies, and you have to keep track of which energies too, because they changed the look of the risen energy to be the same thing. I think this is gonna be a mechanic going forward. It's a little purple ball, and it has the image for that season, and then this one has the image for haunted. I've already gotten them confused twice.
Gross.
Because the risen energy is still dropping when I do playlist activities one at a time. One at a time. Mind you, I still need 9 of these things to be able to decrypt to get my final red border machine gun. And that is a fucking slog right now to get to that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go do any more I did like 40 battlegrounds last season. I really don't want to go do any more. But I do appreciate in the upgrade path for the Crown of Sorrow, for those who haven't looked yet, there are 3 upgrades you can pick that will guarantee you have 3 different guarantees for a red border of a opulent or a haunted weapon every single week. Great. Cool. One of those is, of course, you can just straight up buy one. One is that it'll drop from your first decryption every week, your first 500 haunted bucks, and then you'll get one from your first killing of there's some glowing enemies that run around. Basically, we call them the treasure goblins, is what Johnny and I were calling them.
Yeah.
For anybody who's ever played Diablo, it kind of felt like the stupid pinatas or llamas, whatever you want to call them, running around in Fortnite. That's what it kind of felt like. Just blowing the bejesus out of this thing. And all that for a blue. Well, apparently when you get this upgrade, the first one you kill every week will drop you a deep sight haunted or risen weapon. So I appreciate that, but I think if you're going to have to spend that much time in a public event, as much as I enjoy the public event, this is going to get really old really fast because it's a public event. I am enjoying it now because I am on day 2 of a season. In 6 weeks, I'm going to want to rip my hair out.
Right.
If I'm not getting my drops. And I'd really like to get my drops. Like, the progress on the crown is also time-gated, which does not feel great. Upgrading the crown, on just the rewards track is essentially... It's absolutely critical. If you are really able to push yourself and do the couple challenges that reward the upgrade material this week, conceivably next week at the beginning of the week, you will be able to get your first guaranteed deep sight drop if you do this correctly. I should not have to sit here and strategize about how I'm going to get upgrades for this thing. I don't think it should be time gated. I understand why it's time gated, because there are people who would just go and grind it all out in 2 days.
Right.
And I'm almost inclined to say, well, if they want to do that, let them go do it. Like, I'm personally not going to kill myself to do it. I would play extra if I had a chance to do it. But these are also the same people who want to blow through the entire story in 48 hours. And I kind of dig the episode of the week approach.
Yeah, I do too.
I've just gotten really accustomed to it. Tuesday is Destiny Day, as far as I'm concerned. And then I'll probably pop in on the weekend. Mm-hmm. But those are the 2 guaranteed times I play. It's usually on Tuesday and on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
If I play other times during the week, do what?
It keeps people engaged weekly. It's just...
Yeah, because how we've kind of broken down this before, but Bungie's like kind of starting to get into a real cadence here, right? Of okay, well, we got all this story stuff, and then we're gonna leave you kind of on a cliffhanger. We're gonna go and do this event like Festival of the Lost or like Solstice, and then we're gonna have one more thing for you like the last week or two of the season.
Yeah.
We're gonna have like an epilogue almost, like a lead into next season, or a tease at the next big expansion. Like, if you want to do stuff like that, cool. Like, I don't think that approach works every season. Like, it wouldn't have worked with Guardian games. With the tone of Guardian games, it would not have worked. But with Solstice, I think you can make that work.
Mm-hmm.
With Festival of the Lost, I think you can make that count. Baking cookies, you can't really do that. That's like towards the beginning of the season. So you're gonna have something at the end of it then that leads straight into the expansion, like The Exorcism did. And then rinse and repeat. So, like, cool, you're not doing it every season, but I think that's a good approach to take for the two middle seasons, for like the meat of the year,
right,
so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, if we're building a sandwich, this is like the meat and it's like the meat and the veggies on it.
This is the barbecue chicken and the pineapple there, Earl of Sandwich.
You know, I found a sandwich at Panera that was almost as good, and I came home and threw some pineapple on it, and it tasted almost exactly the same. It was fantastic. But, I mean, I really like that. I like all that. I love the scythe that you run around with in the event.
Yeah. I
think that's cool. Weird. Like, Eris has literally, like, become the Reaper. Yeah. When I first saw that scythe, because it was a hunter using it, I was like, oh my god, is this our new super?
I thought that was your solar super change.
My disappointment was so immense when I realized that was not my new super. I was so... But, hey, let me tell you something. The whole Reaper theme is really awesome. I love the exotic sparrow. I love the ghost. The armor ornaments is the most metal thing I've ever seen in Destiny. Like, I have a personal conspiracy theory that armor was probably meant to be put in the new dungeon, and then they were like, oh man, people are going to be really pissed if we lock this behind a dungeon.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder...
Man, it is one of the best sets across all three classes that we've ever gotten, though. I have this. I think it looks just so cool. I think they, as of right now, the four sets that we know of, the trial set, the armor ornaments, the actual seasonal armor, and
I think the seasonal armor looks cool. Like I really think the seasonal armor looks.
I guess that's just three sets. Like the Eververse ornaments, the Solar 3.0 ornaments.
Yeah,
4 for 4, 4 for 4.
They just got to nail Iron Banner now.
Iron Banner and so. Tangent. We do know about the dungeon. The dungeon theme is Duality, for the record. That is we're going to read some TWAB highlights towards the end. But Duality, you can actually view all of the armor and weapons in-game right now, including the most badass sword they've ever put in the game.
Yeah.
Which, in reading the lore, it sounds like it's a Cabal sword. Like, it might have been Kaido's at one point.
Yeah.
And Callus just, like, took it back after her betrayal.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of shit. And then you look at the armor, because you're like, oh my god, the weapons look so cool. There's like pulsating red on it. Oh, it matches the armor perfectly. So that's why I think the armor is supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
And then you see the armor, and you're like, what? It's a Hake themed set. And I just don't know how to feel about it. Like, I don't hate it. It's funny because it's straight out of the concept art for D2, the original concept art.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? That's not good. There's going to be a lot of real upset people about this when they play that dungeon for the first time.
You're talking about this, like, greenish picture in the TWAB, right?
Nope.
Wait, what set are you talking about?
You have to go look in collections. It hasn't been put in the TWAB or anything.
Okay.
It's in collections. The badge has been visible since the update on Tuesday. It's on the last page of the collections badges and the Duality one. Yeah. It's like orange and white, orange, white, and gray. So it's Hake themed, just like we got the Dido set in Prophecy.
Okay.
Or this was going to originally be like an Eververse set. Like, that was originally supposed to be an Eververse set, you know? But, we'll move it to the dungeon, or we'll move it out of the season pass so that people don't absolutely freak out about it.
Right.
I've already seen some pretty big streamers, like Glad had an absolute fit over this, upon seeing it. And it's just like, well, man, listen, we have so much good armor this season that I'm willing to forgive like this looking bad. Like you can slap a universal ornament on it. Not everything has to be a 10 out of 10 banger.
Yeah.
You main a Titan, my dude. You should be used to disappointment by now.
I always am. It's like a surprise. It's like a nice treat when I get a halfway cool looking piece of armor. I actually kind of like this armor in the TWAB though.
Yeah.
But also I'm a Titan and a lot of it is ugly, so what do I know?
Yeah, God, dude, that Reaper armor is so cool though.
Yeah, I know, it's cool.
The green armor that's the Leviathan set. That's the seasonal armor set. We have the Reaper set below that, and of course, the solar ornaments.
Those are two cool, I am curious. Really cool sets, and the ornaments are cool. Like they really nailed it this season. I know we kind of just said that, but
Nerd was telling me, he goes, man, they just like let the armor designers go nuts.
Yeah.
And they really did. I appreciate it. It's a very fun aesthetic. And I look forward to seeing what else happens. Quick note before we get into Solar 3.0, there are 3 new titles this season. So I say 3 because one of them isn't technically live, but it has been data mined. It'll go live with the dungeon on Friday morning. There's 3 new titles. There is one for Iron Banner. There's the one for the season, and there is the one for the dungeon. I'm gonna look up the name of the dungeon one while we're discussing, but of course Iron Lord is the one for Iron Banner. We all knew that was coming. And then I really, really, really like the one for the season. The title is Reaper. So I'm getting that, and I'm never taking it off. I've had the Undying title on since Shadowkeep came out. I finally have my replacement here, ladies and gentlemen. I have my replacement. It's Reaper. I will have this on for the rest of Destiny 2. Oh, God, my computer moves so slow. I've got like 6 programs running, so we're going to hope that nothing crashes.
Maybe you should just have Skype and the browser open. I feel like your computer is just going to take off.
Well, I have several
like
browser windows open is the problem.
I feel like your laptop's just going to take off like the Helm does. But
dude, let me tell you something. This chunky boy is ready to go. Disreceptor is the title. Disruptor? I don't know how to pronounce this. Anyways, it's going to be in there. Congratulations. That's cool. I'm looking to figure out what this means. I'm very curious now. I want to know if this is in the person who pulls something apart, divides, or separates. So that would make sense based on what we're doing this season. Mm-hmm. That makes me... And the title of the dungeon is Duality, which actually leads us into our first question of the night. I want to...
I have a question that's DM'd to us, too, by the way, when we get to questions.
Okay, well, I'm actually going to read our first question right now.
Great.
Since we are talking about the dungeon, I got to scroll up and find it. There we go. This is from our friend Joasis. Joe, by the way, I don't remember if I got back to you or not, but, I mentioned that I was having some trouble this week. You reached out to me in DMs to make sure I was doing okay and taking care of myself, and I really appreciate you for that. Joe asks, what loadout are you guys going to take into the new dungeon, and what do you think it's going to be based on it looking like it's going to be on the Leviathan? It is 100% on the Leviathan. Mm-hmm. There is no looking like. It is absolutely 100% on the Leviathan.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
I wouldn't be shocked to reuse some of the areas from Crown of Sorrow. Or maybe from like Spire of Stars or something. Like reusing parts of the Leviathan will not shock me in this dungeon. Yeah. It seems like we're reusing a lot of assets right now. Especially if it's an area that they can kind of like cordon off so that, when we take the Leviathan out of the game at the end of the year, this can still remain.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot of like going into the battles of the Leviathan though, but like glyconing it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like adding new puzzles to solve and whatnot. As for the enemy that we're going to fight, it's not going to be Callus because we're not going to kill Callus 3 days into the season.
Yeah. It's going to be some sort of like, man, I don't know. I don't
You
know.
know who I could see it being? The Scion leader who wanted Zavala assassinated.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah. Yeah.
I could see that happening. The one who was directing the stuff that happens in Vox Obscura and whatnot that we know was working for Callus.
Right.
I could very realistically see that being a thing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Man. So, side tangent. I know we're talking a lot about Leviathan and everything. You don't think that this is the quote-unquote legacy raid that's coming back this season, do you?
No, it's not. Duality 100% is not a raid. It is confirmed to be a dungeon.
No, I'm saying, like...
No. Oh, God, no.
I'm not talking...
If it was Leviathan, I'd be fucking floored if they brought that back. If they brought that back after basically a year of them, like, dancing around is it King's Fall, I don't want to imagine the uproar from the community. I'd be leading the charge. I think they explicitly said it is a Destiny 1 raid at some point.
Okay.
I want to say they explicitly confirmed that.
I mean, I thought about that too, but then I couldn't remember, and I didn't really go back and check, and I was like, what if the legacy raid they're talking about is Leviathan? Like, that was my first thought when I landed.
And if it's Leviathan, there is nothing that would take the wind out of the sails for my hype meter going into Lightfall more than a Leviathan raid coming back right now.
Yeah.
You can bring that stuff back down the line. I'd be totally cool with that, especially if the Leviathan ends up sticking around. Like, the working theory is that the Leviathan will stick around since it's a patrol space, and we can always unlock new areas of it, and that would bring in an avenue for next year to bring the raids back, possibly.
Yeah.
Fight, darkness versions of Argos and of Valkalor, for example.
Yeah.
Maybe actually take down Callus for real in a raid, because you got to take him down in a raid. That can't be like a strike or a dungeon boss.
No, he's got to be
or God forbid a story mission. You got to deal with something there.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if, because my working theory is, what if the Leviathan eats the moon this year? And so that we effectively vault the moon.
Vault champions along with it.
And that opens the door to explore more of the Leviathan for something, or for example, like I don't know, I'm spitballing here, right? But those are things I'd like to see. In response to Joe's other half of his question, what loadout are you taking in? So for me, I know for sure I'm going to take a few weapons with me, right? I'm going to keep Gallarhorn in my back pocket, but I'm assuming that if I'm running this with Colonel Panic and Nerd Generalist, that Colonel Panic is probably running Gallarhorn. So I'm going to take my Godroll Royal Entry with me. Always old reliable there. I'm going to take that along. I'm going to run Divinity probably for my my exotic slot, in my energy slot. Trace rifles are great this season on top of that, but also if there are Overload champs, which I strongly suspect there will be champs of some kind, whether they're Overload or Unstoppable, I don't know. I suspect there will be champions of some kind, though, and if they're Overload, great, I can auto-stun them. If not, Overload Pulse is amazing, by the way. Or Overload Trace Rifle. Now that you can slap it on any trace, it's awesome. Aeger's Scepter is now the ultimate Overload weapon. But Divinity, I think, still wins out for me because of the damage bubble that you get.
Right.
I would... My primary slot is, I think, the one that I'm most divided on. I'll take Messenger along with me, of course, and Peace of Mind will be in there. Submission, the Vow of the Disciple SMG, that'll be in there. But the primary that I think I'm going to be running is Tears of Contrition, this brand new primary scout from this season. I have this with Perpetual Motion and Explosive Payload on it. And I'm really enjoying this. It's basically, it's unseating Night Watch for me. Straight up, especially if I get better perks on it. But Explosive Payload on a Scout? You love to see it. And I love the origin traits on these guns. Extrovert. Final blows while near multiple combatants or near nightmares restores health. I love it. I love it. And as a result, I will probably take the seasonal glaive along with me as well, Nezarec's Whisper, because that also has Extrovert on it. And I have Lead from Gold and Turnabout
Ooh.
on it. So I'm actually kind of a fan of that. I just don't know. It is an arc glaive, so I don't know how much that's actually going to help me breaking with it.
Right.
But I look forward to at least trying. It will at least go with me in my arsenal.
Yeah.
So those are my picks, I think.
Yeah. Well, man, I gotta really think about this. Because I have my old reliables, right? Like I have my Outbreak Perfected. I have my auto rifle from last season, right? I have the pulse from last season. I have a God Roll Code Duello, and Mitch usually runs Galahorn, so I usually get the effects from that. So that's good to go. I will probably be running a glaive as well. I will at least take it in with me. I love the glaive. I know, like, for some reason I'm in the minority of that, but it just totally fits the way I like to play. I'll be taking that in. I will be just, I think that's kind of how I'm rolling, you know.
I love the new exotic gauntlets you guys have too, with the double shield throws.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. I'll definitely be looking for those at some point.
Man, I think it's gonna be awesome.
I'm really excited. We're gonna try it tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I'll be running it right at reset, seeing if I can get a completion tomorrow. I do, part of me really hopes this is farmable because there's 6 weapons. There's 2 opulent weapons and 4 regular weapons, as well as the exotic that are in this.
Right.
That really makes me think that the exotic isn't just going to be given to us like Galahorn. Like, it's probably going to be RNG'd, and that kind of terrifies me.
I know. It's going to be another Vex situation.
It's going to be another Vex situation. Tomorrow, 1,000 voices, whatever you want to, insert here. Just the only thing that's comforting to me is we're not currently in a sword meta. Right. So I'm sure this is going to do big boy damage. But hilariously, speaking of big boy damage, Solar 3.0, Hunters suddenly have the most powerful super in the game.
Yeah.
And it's not even close.
Yeah, no, I noticed that.
So get a load of this, y'all. It's not some Celestial Nighthawk bullshit either. Star Eater Strides have finally made their return after a year.
Are you sure? Are you sure they're not just gonna turn them off tomorrow?
Dude,
and be like,
they're gonna absolutely turn these off. I can't believe that they haven't come out and said already that they're gonna turn these off tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you are wearing Star Eater Strides and you are running Knock 'em Down, one of the new Hunter aspects, and Blade Barrage, you get to 8 stacks on Star Eaters, and you throw your super. Somebody went in the Grasp of Avarice and ran the numbers. You do 800k with 1 Blade Barrage.
Yeah.
To the boss. That is wild. Now imagine if you're throwing that onto, and I probably won't be able to, because I don't think I'll be able to get the bubble up quick enough. But imagine you're doing that while you're buffed by the bubble and by Divinity.
Yeah.
We're talking 1,000,000 damage. That's wild. That's absolutely wild. We're talking 99999 damage.
Right.
I don't even know what to do. I'm so thrilled, and I don't think I deleted mine. I'm probably gonna open up my vault tomorrow and just be met with crippling sadness. But for right now, I don't think that I have deleted them. So.
By the way, side tangent. Speaking of exotics that break the game, how about the Gunsmith just holding Telesto and
The Gunsmith holding Telesto was so funny, and then it actually did crash the game.
I know.
Both John and his girlfriend had their games crash when I was like, dude, he's holding Telesto, and they went and inspected, and their games crash. It just disappears from his hands too. So people were photoshopping guitars in and saying, anyway, here's Wonderwall. It's absolutely great. They had to acknowledge it in the known issues.
Yeah.
I just can't believe they did that, and they let Xur sell Telesto the weekend before Seath and the Haunted dropped. They were asking for it. Bungie was really tempting fate here. Like, some people, if they go to inspect an item in their screens, all they're seeing is like a giant foot.
Yeah.
It's just, some of the glitches are absolutely wild in this. I wanna hold off a little bit on the Solar 3.0 talk. I personally have not had much of a chance to play outside of the first day. I haven't really found a build that I like yet. I'll probably spend the weekend working on that.
Right. I mean, we could probably talk about it next week a little bit.
We'll talk a little bit more about, kind of like we did with Void. Like, it's gonna take a few weeks to kind of get into the groove, feel how we feel about certain aspects. All I will say is Gunpowder Gamble is the funnest fucking thing I've ever done in this game. Just throwing this giant just satchel of dynamite and getting myself blown up with it repeatedly has been so much fun. I really like Gunpowder Gamble for the Hunters. So I can no longer ever say the Hunters do not have viable grenades. We have Gunpowder Gamble. So I'm thrilled.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely thrilled. It's about time. I'm saying, my man. I think the weapon pool, if we're just like kind of moving along here with initial impressions of the season, I think the weapon pool is pretty generous. We know there will be 6 opulent weapons total. I suspect that, well, not even suspect, it's literally in the API. If you go and look at blueprints right now, fixed odds, the LMG from Menagerie and Epicurean, which is Fusion, will both be craftable as of the dungeon drop tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I like that because that means if you get even a single drop of those, once you've unlocked Opulent Focusing, you can just focus new rolls of those. Looking forward to that, being able to craft some god rolls. Fixed odds is basically getting it rolls with killing tally. So that thing's getting ready to be 21% Delirium 2.0. I've also thought the same thing about the LMG, the Stasis LMG from last season. So very interested to see how those shake up people's loadouts as we go further into the season. But you got all the Menagerie weapons are back. I think there's like maybe one thing. I think it's Imperial Decree is the shotgun that is missing. And we got a new shoddy instead. So you got those 6 reprised weapons. You got 6 brand new haunted weapons, including just a great... I really like the glaive. I like the glaive. I like the shoddy. I was running around with it in Crucible yesterday. Was enjoying that. The scout, of course, I've already said, like, the scout is in my loadout for day 1 dungeon. Straight up, I'm taking that with me. Need to test out the other weapons a little bit more. Trespasser is awesome. It's buttery smooth. I can't wait to be so annoyed with it. God, what else? I just got my first roll on the Crucible Fusion rifle, the Rapid Fire Fusion. Got that the other day. Got to roll the bow from Zavala. Of course, I haven't gotten the Drifter weapon playing Gambit. And I'm just so curious to see how, Iron Banner shakes out. But that's a pretty good loot pool, I think, when you consider that two new Trials weapons, 3 playlist weapons, so that's 5.
Yeah.
6 of Haunted and Opulent each. Mm-hmm. A new exotic, Trespasser, the new Dungeon exotic, the
it's a lot.
4 unique weapons to the dungeon. That's a lot. That's like 30 weapons.
Yeah.
Once you add in, like, the Iron Banner weapons and things like that, and, like, they're all going to roll with the Iron Banner trades, and, like, man, this is great. I love this. More of this, please, more of this.
Yeah.
I realize that this is probably a bit of an anomaly. We're getting 6 additional weapons largely because we're going back to the Leviathan. But I think that leaves a lot of hope for maybe we could get like a best of package of like the Leviathan raid weapons if a Leviathan raid ever comes back. I don't think all 4 of them are ever coming back, but maybe get like a best of package. Put like Midnight Coup, Galran's Right Hand. I don't know. Pull some stuff from the raid layers. Like, those are the only 2 that I remember off the top of my head, honestly. Bane of Sorrow, maybe. Throw that in. I remember that LMG. Throw some of those in. I don't know. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility to offer things like that in the future. Mm-hmm. And then there was one... I promise we're going to do the Schwab after this. I had the screenshot because it was such a funny interaction. Kevin Yanes, who's one of the sandbox leads, was in Paul Tassie's and Damage's mentions earlier. And he goes, I'm just going to say it here. While we are totally reading feedback and thinking of iterations to Solar 3.0 for this season, we do not expect there to be any merging or introduction of new aspects. Existing aspects will get tuned or enhanced in varying ways. And somebody replied to him going, it shouldn't be ruled out. And I think this is the moment that Kevin just snapped. Very nice guy. Kevin, I think, just snapped because he goes, it is ruled out. Building aspects takes a considerable amount of time and resources that wouldn't be viable for the team for a while. We believe we can address the feedback without needing to do that. So that actually kind of takes away something that I was going to say tonight, which is I wouldn't be shocked if the final season of this year introduced a final aspect for each of the classes to bring them up to 4 like Stasis has. I guess that's ruled out, and that's fine, because I think there's plenty of customization here. They've given us brand new abilities. Like, if I'm going to get things like Gunpowder Gamble, or, like, being able to make my team radiant by using my dodge, I'm totally here for it. I'd rather have new abilities than the same stuff I've been using for 7 years. Right? And that actually leads to, I think that leads to a comment that we got earlier in the week from Christy. I want to find exactly what Christy, I don't want to misspeak for Christy when we were asking for comments the other day. And of course, you know, everything wants to not load for me. God damn it.
Josh is looking for the comments. I'm singing my song.
Josh is looking through the comments. He's really agitated. He went back too far now.
Oh, man.
Way too far.
Way too far. Josh is going way too far. Way too far. The Josh Finney story.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah, literally. Okay, fucking. I have to go to my phone. My whole browser just froze up. This is absurd. I hate this. I hate my computer so much.
Oh man, I need a new laptop. By the way, not that that matters to this conversation, but this laptop behind me, it won't even stay on unless it's plugged in. So, kind of defeats.
Well, I'm gonna keep looking for this. Corey, do you have any? We haven't even talked about the Titan. What do you think of Titan Solar 3.0 real quick?
It's cool. I mean, it's. I haven't had a lot of time to like really play around with it, but there are some things that I like that are a little bit different. The way the giant hammer works is a little bit different.
Yeah.
I really like that. It doesn't feel as like lumbering, you know, because like, you know that
right.
That whole animation of you just slamming it down is a little bit too slow, but now it feels quicker. A lot. I don't know about the hammer throwing thing because like I really thought that like that first mission when I was throwing the hammers at the thing instead of punching it, like I don't know if that's just a thing that happened to me and it was just like a whatever, but I hope that I'll be able to punch people instead of just throwing hammers. Don't get me wrong, throwing hammers is cool, but I need to punch things too. I'm not as high on it as I was on the Void 3.0 yet, but also it's been 2 days, so I haven't really found anything that has stuck out to me yet, though.
That's kind of the general consensus, and so I finally found what I was looking for, and it's because I was on the wrong Twitter account.
Oh.
The Sent to the Tower Casuals account. That's not tagged in it. That's okay. Christy writes into the show and goes, I'm hoping I just haven't found the right combo yet because I'm not super impressed with Solar. This is the general sentiment across the board, I think, is that Hunters got a god tier rework. Absolutely god tier rework in Solar. Blade Barrage is viable. Gunpowder Gamble, making our allies radiant through our dodge. The Shah Han move, essentially, is what we got. No, really, like, I thought that was going to be a super. I didn't think that was going to be flat out like, oh, I just have to dodge to activate this. So I almost always have Radiance up now.
Yeah.
And that's great, you know. I really need time to like dig into more builds, I think, but it seems like Hunters got kind of god tier. Titans are kind of like 50-50 on what they got. Like, oh, okay, we got some cool improvements. They took some things away. Like, don't really know. Like 50% seem to love it. 50% are like, oh, well, this is underwhelming.
The thing is with Titans though is like the top, like the old way was like the top and the bottom tier were essentially the same with like minor differences. So they took away the bottom tier completely. It seems like.
That's what they did to all of every single super is like that now. Every single bottom tree solar super is basically gone.
Yeah, and so like it's not that solar wasn't even bad to begin with. So like the change is less drastic, which I think makes it less exciting because Titan Solar was actually already pretty good. You know.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus that I'm seeing. And then Warlocks, I mean, they had to flat out come out and say, hey, one of your aspects is not working as intended.
Yeah.
Because I saw a lot of disappointment this morning. They confirmed, hey, it's not working as intended. That fix is coming on June 7th, so it will take a while. But that should some at ease. Nerd was like, yeah, I played with it for like a day or two, and then I went straight back to Void. Like, and he was like, realistically, I was probably going to do that anyways because Void is that power fantasy.
Right.
But I don't think it's as bad as everybody's making it out to be. Like, I don't play a Warlock, but I haven't heard anybody else really, like, any people that I play with being like, oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, okay, so we lost some of our air maneuverability, especially.
Yeah.
Like, okay, don't know how I feel about that, like, having to put on an exotic, but, I mean, those new Warlock boots with Jotun or Vex Mythoclast is just going to be disgusting. That's going to be absolutely disgusting. I'm going to play a Warlock for the Crucible from now on, just to wear those boots and run around, like, floating around with Vex. That's what I'm doing. That's my play forever now, is that and Jotun. Jotun got a Catalyst, too?
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
so excited.
That. Mitch texted me.
I will be bringing Jotun back. John thought I was lying. He did not believe me initially, and it's actually a pretty good Catalyst, so I look forward to using that. Alas, my requests for full court were not honored. But fire spreading to enemies around the target. Really like that. Really like hearing that one. It's going to hop and skip and everything else. Really like that for those team plays. Any like final thoughts on any of this before we jump into? We're gonna pull some excerpts from the Schwab real fast, do questions and a lore corner and get out of here.
No, I mean I don't have anything else really to add.
Got you.
I
got you.
I'll have more to say next week because I'm going to be playing a lot tomorrow and Saturday, and it's a long weekend for me, so I might even play.
It is, in fact, a long weekend. Thank God.
I know, dude. Yeah, let's move on before I start getting sad again.
Before you start getting sad again. I'm looking at.
I need a break, man. It's been a. Yeah.
Anyways, the Schwab is just like info for this season and going over the armor and things like that. Of course, the dungeon, they revealed nothing about the dungeon, just, it'll be there at reset tomorrow with the controversial dungeon pass. Solar fragments. So solar fragments are really the main thing we need to address here. There are some fragments that are not unlocked for everybody, or like you got 2 of them, but like 2 still aren't. They kind of explain it here. And I like this approach, but yeah. Guardians can unlock additional fragments or Solar 3.0 by completing a number of nightmare containments. Each Guardian that fights the good fight will count as a completion, so having a full fire team that's focused on the objective will benefit groups greatly. Basically, double the progression for a team of 6 versus, say, a team of 3. The goal is to hit 20 million completions as a community. When we hit that goal, the 4 remaining Solar 3.0 fragments will be unlocked and ready to pick up from Ikora. That said, there is one thing to note about the fragments. There was some confusion during the launch, and we wanted to explain what happened and what is intentional. The 4 locked fragments were always intended for this community-driven initiative, but there was a hiccup on day 1. Some players reported being able to receive some of these early. This is connected to something the team found in their investigation that allows early access for veteran players who had previously built into the Solar subclass, whereas newly created Guardians still have these locked. This has caused some players to unlock Ember of Ashes and Embers of Wonder, which were intended to be locked. Also, some players were unable to acquire fragments that should have been unlocked for everyone at the start of the season. Those players will not able to receive 2 fragments which were meant to be available on day 1, called Ember of Eruption and Ember of Searing. I fall into one of these because I'm missing only 2. I'm only missing 2. Team has made the decision they don't want to remove any fragments from people who have unlocked them, and the goal is for all 6 fragments to unlock when the community goal mentioned above. We're sure it'll happen in no time. I would really like to know how close we are as a community to this, because that's really aggravating for build crafting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a good idea, but in retrospect, maybe it should have just been, I don't know, like unlocked with the dungeon, like the world's first dungeon completion or something.
Right.
This just feels a little like ridiculous. 'Cause, I mean, I know they say it'll happen in no time, and that's probably accurate, right? But it's still like, okay, this is a little aggravating. Like, you're basically counting on everyone who pre-ordered the Witch Queen to run this event 20 times, essentially, is what you're planning on.
Right.
And let me tell you something, that's not going to happen. Like, it could next Thursday, we will probably just be getting these, which in the scheme of things isn't that bad, but it is when you're trying to build craft for a brand new dungeon. And it's just a little agitating, but that's just me. I'm looking for something to complain about at this point, because everything else is, pretty great. There's more breakdown about Iron Banner and this and that. New Bungie initiative for GCX. That always happens June 3rd through June 10th. I'm sure during Bungie's block there will be some specific goals. We've seen in the past they've released artwork. They've released concept art, talked about new exotics, confirmed returning things. So we'll wait and see what happens during that stream. There is an awesome community emote that they say they're going to, or a charity emote, I guess I should say, which is petting a big dog.
I know, it looks so cool.
I really like that emote, and I'll probably end up getting it. And then towards the end, they say that there's a whole story behind that, and they're going to address that going forward. They're going to talk about it over the coming weeks, which is what's called the Loyal Companion. And then here at the end, I want to read the end of this real quick before we go into Lore Corner and questions. We've got some exciting things coming down the pipeline, including Solstice dropping in July alongside our annual Bungie Day celebration. We'll have more details on both of these events in the near future, but for now, we've got some existential dread to conquer and nightmares to face. I'm very curious to know what they're going to do for Bungie Day, because it seems like they're making a big deal out of Bungie Day this year. If they're telling us, like, 6 weeks out, hey, by the way, we got Bungie Day things coming up. Like, oh, is it going to be more than just an emblem this year? Like, that'd be cool. I'd love something, like, acknowledged in-game for, like, that long weekend. Because guess what? Tower Casuals 100 will be recorded on Bungie Day. So, looking forward to that. That is how the calendar maps out. So, that'll be a day of celebration for all of us. And then there's one final note here. Liana wrote this twab out, so I'm not at all surprised that she heartfelt here in the final paragraph. We've been loving the feedback and excitement you've been sharing. It's great to see Guardians Worldwide severing the nightmares and facing the next step of the Destiny 2 journey. From cosmic horror to the duality of the human experience, our grief, our individual trials and tribulations, our hope. These are heavy themes that we wanted to provide a heads up on, but each thematic thread weaves into a beautiful story that we can't wait to watch you all experience as this tale unfolds. Yeah, I mean, this season really seems like it's really about, in a way, like what the epilogue of Shadowkeep was all about with Eris's fire team. That this is about overcoming your traumas.
Right.
Overcoming your past traumas, and that your traumas don't have to define you. And shouldn't define you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the story is definitely going to be a bit heavier than we're used to. Like, I'm sure there'll still be, the occasional Crow wisecrack or, Drifter, pulling a joke. But even in the lore, like, everything's a little bit more serious this season.
Yeah.
We kind of speculated on this with the launch of the Witch Queen, but we feel like we've kind of crossed this threshold where, yeah, there'll still be some fun things. Like, if Saint shows up, I'm sure Saint will be, our comedic relief and whatnot. But the story's gotten noticeably darker over the last, year and a half. And that's not going to let up anytime soon. Like, tackling themes like this, I think, is important in a game about space magic and wizards. We talked last year about how there was that great article, I want to say Polygon wrote it, about how Destiny was tackling difficult themes and difficult conversations better than any other game out there. And it's a game where you're running around shooting space bugs and using, hurling Nova bombs and whatnot at each other in the Crucible.
Yeah.
And yet it managed to tell a really compelling refugee story. It's managed to tell, tales of, of love, of loss, of revenge,
racism.
Racism, racism, and now we're tackling trauma. We're going back tackling trauma yet again, because it was very poignant to me that this launched right in the middle of two tragedies. And that it's going to be a season focused all on, trauma and grief. And I think it's going to be a little heavy for some of us, I think, this season. But I think ultimately Destiny is still a place that we go to escape. But just because we go there to escape, much like this show, that doesn't mean we can't have the important conversations, or that we shouldn't have the important conversations, I guess I should say. So,
right.
Just a little something for everybody to keep in mind as we push forward into this season and further into this storyline.
Yeah.
So, Corey, do we want to do questions first or lore corner first?
You know what, Josh? I think we should do.
So I think we only have one question left.
Well, I have one from Andre that he sent me, which
that's the one that I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I have any more. I will scroll back through, but
okay.
I don't think I have any more.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, he came on the Boss Rush podcast last night with us. And
oh yeah.
Let me tell you, man, the guy's awesome. He's a cool dude to hang out with. So, talk some Marvel, talk some Star Wars, talk some video games. It was a good time.
I like talking Marvel and Star Wars.
I know you do. We might have to put something together, Josh.
We might have to. I lied. I actually have another question. So let's go to you. Let's go to Andres first, and then we'll do
right.
mine.
So Andres is a video, and I didn't really transcribe it. It's a really cool video, though. He made it in game.
Really?
Yeah. So I got to figure out how to get this video off of Twitter and put it in the video, because I think I'm going to do that. But let's see. I hope you can hear it, Josh. If not, I'll just listen to it and then we'll figure it out.
Hello, boys. How's it going? It's me, your favorite warlock, July Masterbanks. Well, that's my username, though my actual name is on here, but you get the picture. Anyway, my question for you guys this fine day: what is your favorite season that Destiny has ever released, and why? What about it really drew you in, and what did you really love about it, and what didn't you like about it? Let me know, as always, and let me know if you guys enjoy this question type thing, rather than just seeing my face in a hard hat at a construction site, because honestly, this is a lot more fun, and who knows, I might go to a different location every question. So let me know, okay, boys? Hello.
Andre, I hope your next one is from the boss of the new dungeon.
So
I hope you just like pop a chair emote and sit down in front of him.
This one, he has the queen emote where he's sitting with the skull floating, and he's sitting in the back of the tower. It's pretty good. I'll try.
Yeah, I think doing a different location would be funny.
Yeah. He's the new Zerg.
Favorite season. Corey, if you have an answer ready, go ahead and answer this, because I got to think on this one for a second.
Gosh, I mean, there's a couple seasons during Beyond Light that were really good.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about Season of Arrivals moving into not necessarily Season of the Hunt, but like battle, like
what
the
it meant for the story going forward. Yeah.
It just, man, I'm not 100% sure. I would have to say season of man. I don't know, because I really enjoyed the Battlegrounds. I really enjoyed the Keitel Cabal kind of season. But man, this is kind of hard to choose. I really enjoyed Season of the Chosen. I really enjoyed Season of the Splicer story specifically.
Yeah.
But then I also enjoyed, even though it was a super long season, which kind of killed my enjoyment of it, I really liked Season of the Lost. I liked The Exorcism. I liked the lead up to Savathun's release.
Yeah.
it's really hard. I just think since Season of Arrivals, they've really been nailing it, and they're like working on all cylinders. Like we talked about earlier, like they've really gotten on a great cadence in terms of an episodic style release, and it's really great for the game.
Yeah.
I think overall though, in terms of just quality versus, even though I enjoyed the season of the Lost Story, it drug on too long. I'm gonna have to say Season of the Chosen, because that opening scene where they're there and they're at the table, kind of talking to Keitel and the Cabal, and Zavala takes a stand. He's like, "No," like that whole thing was just like It was so cool.
Him picking Crow up too.
Yeah, him picking up Crow and that mirrored image of Aldrin killing Cade and then Zavala picking up Crow was such an iconic kind of still. So I'm gonna say Season of the Chosen at this point.
So I want to, when we get to the end of Witch Queen, I want to sit down and do a ranking of all the seasons. Because I consider a season to be anything that's not a main DLC. Yes, that means that I consider Dark Below, Curse of Osiris, House of Wolves, etc. to be seasons as well.
Right.
I think the initial gut reaction is to say, well, Season of Opulence. That's what a lot of players would say, because then they're like, oh, the Menagerie. Oh, you had Crown of Sorrow in there too. And, the loot pool and, all the loot from Menagerie. No, you liked when Menagerie was glitched and you could exploit it.
Yeah.
I saw people actively asking for the rune system to come back this season, and I was like, are you fucking high?
Who
that was not enjoyable for anybody.
Who wants the rune system back?
We've gotten so much better with targeted loot. Let me tell you guys, I don't have to sit here and have a chart open to figure out what weapon I'm going to get or armor piece, or I accidentally slotted the correct rune in the wrong slot, so now I'm going to get a piece of armor instead of a weapon that I want. Like, I can only imagine the raging I would be doing.
God, no.
And I was never as hot on that season as everyone else either. I'll be completely honest. I hate the Crown of Sorrow raid. It's we've done 2 raid rankings and it's ranked towards the bottom of both. I hate that raid. I hate it so much. I hate Big Chungus. And the Menagerie got old for me after like the 60th clear. Sorry. I'm torn because part of me wants to say Chosen, because like I acknowledge what Arrivals did, but I have such a hard time saying that it should be Arrivals, mainly because it was a public event that was the main seasonal event.
Yeah.
Like the Exodus quests and the missions around the Silver Tree definitely put it higher up on my list. I think the lore behind the season, the shock of, oh my god, the pyramids are here. Oh my god. Was incredible. I think Season of Dawn had its moments. Obviously, the missions rescuing Saint 14 in the past, and a pretty robust loot pool, I would say, even if the Sundial was extremely underwhelming. I like things like Devil's Ruin make up for that. But it's got to be kind of neck and neck between Chosen and Splicer for me. And I think I'm gonna go Splicer. Let me have a moment to explain. I think first off, that's the loot I've liked the most any season.
Yeah, that loot's pretty cool. Like,
I acknowledge that Opulence probably had the better loot pool ultimately, but man, I'm still using a year later. I'm still using Chroma Rush.
Yeah, Chroma Rush is like it doesn't leave my inventory ever.
No, I'm using Chroma Rush. I'm using Ignition Code. Like, I love the aesthetic of the season.
Yeah.
3 of my 5 armor pieces at all times are from Season of the Splicer.
Yeah.
I think Expunge is still one of the most creative things they've ever done in terms of aesthetic.
Yeah.
I cannot believe we do not have a Crucible map set in the Vex realm yet.
Yeah.
That actually really bothers me.
Yeah.
I did not mind the overrides, and I think the storyline was all, we talked about, how Destiny's tackled, racism, xenophobia, and things like that. This is the season where we had a lot of those themes. And it was great to see a seasonal story done so effectively without Crow had anchored the previous 2. And this one was all about Saint and Mithrax. Mithrax is here in the flesh. He's our ally. We get that awesome cutscene of Saint 14 and how they consider him to be the demon.
Yeah. Well, the cutscene, the end of season cutscene too, with Mithrax and Saint back to back, and them becoming BFFs essentially.
Yeah, well, you have to protect your people. You are my people, and it's just you're hearing all the dialogue coming out like while you're in there doing the final expunge while you're doing you're fighting Quaria and things like that. It's like, oh my god, like this is incredible. This is absolutely incredible dialogue. And then knowing that Savathun was watching all of it is like the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I gotta go Splicer. I gotta go Splicer here. I gotta go Splicer. Splicer wins for me.
Yeah.
When I take all that into account.
You're really talking me out of.
And then you got Vault of Glass on top of that.
Yeah, you're really talking me out of Chosen now.
No. Dude, listen, Chosen gave us three or four great battlegrounds. You got Proving Grounds out of it. Keitel is introduced into the story and, like, wasn't this cheesy one-dimensional villain. Like, she's showing up in all these seasons. She's actually become such an important ally. You know, I joke about, you know, her and Zavala being, you know, booty calls, but, I mean, come on. Mm-hmm. It's so clear. Zavala has learned how to please the space rhinoceros, okay?
It's true.
It's happening.
It's true.
So I don't know. There's so many cool things, especially after like she's been like hinted at since Vanilla D2. You know, in that collector's edition in the Cabal box is where we first heard about Keitel, and you know, to finally get her on screen was just this incredible moment.
Yeah. And
for her to still be having an effect on the story, you know, Risen was all about her. You know, they were not joking when they said the seasons are going to be more tied to the ongoing storyline of the major expansions. Right. Risen tied directly into that. This is a direct result of Risen. Like, the Crown of Sorrow is still affecting things 3 years later.
Right.
This is like this is great. I really, really enjoy all of this. I would say the other thing in favor of Chosen, though, you did get Presage.
It's true. The best
which
mission.
We maintain is one of the absolute best experiences ever in Destiny.
It's if I had to rank my top 5 experiences right now.
And now we have a whole season. We have season of the Presage right now.
If I had to rank my top 5 experiences in Destiny, Presage would be up there in that list, I think. So, man, Presage, man, it's so good. Why did they take it away, Josh?
Because they gave us an entire season of Presage.
No, it's not the same,
like, you
Josh.
Guys, here you go.
It's not the same. It's not the same. Anyways, what's the other question we have, Josh?
The other question that we have is, you know, it's something we talked about a few times on here, but I do think that this is a great question given some of the story beats this week. With the first series of weekly quests done in Season of the Haunted, do you think we are on the path of the Dark Future storyline? That comes to us from Prophetic Swine on Twitter. So we won't be on the path to the explicit Dark Future as seen by Elsie because of the one choice we made in Beyond Light. To not let the darkness take over. We conquered the darkness within ourselves in Beyond Light. That automatically means that future, as it was ordained by her, is gone. That part of the timeline is gone. She has acknowledged she does not know what is happening anymore because this has diverted so much from every reality she's been in. We are in a completely new strand of the timeline. Like, it's like Doctor Strange says in Endgame. I've seen there's 14,586 possible realities, and there's only one in which we win. This is the one in which we win that we are in right now.
Right.
Provided Lightfall doesn't throw us into a time loop also.
Right.
So I'm not going to rule it out, but I am going to say that, like, if we think it's going to happen explicitly like that, it is not going to happen explicitly like that. Because our Guardian does not fall to the darkness and therefore does not lead the Guardians under Aramis. As of now, there's been no... Now, the attack on the tower, I still fully believe is going to happen.
Oh, it's happening. It's happening. Now that we know...
That's going to happen, and... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, now that we know the helm is a spaceship, like, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening.
It's happening. I really think, kind of akin to, you know, we were just talking about Season of Arrivals. When you had the Exodus quest line in there, I do think that we're going to have to do something like that. We keep talking about, like, an attack on the tower. Like, I don't know if anybody else saw what was happening with fucking Eris when she did this ritual, fucking around with parts of Touch of Malice. But
I saw it.
I would absolutely not be shocked if something infiltrated into her. There is a piece of the new lore, I believe it's on one of the armor pieces, where they talk about they have Savathun's body in the tower, and they are, like, dissecting it.
That's so dumb. This is like it's like Spider-Man 2 when they're, like, trying to operate on Doc Ock.
Dude, this is the dumbest possible timeline, because in that timeline, you know, as we all know, Eris Savathun actually takes over Eris's body.
Yeah.
To lead the attack on the tower. And I do not think that's outside the realm of possibility. I absolutely 100% think that Eris is gone at the end of the year. I think Eris's storyline is wrapping up. She's taking more and more risks. I would not be shocked. On the other hand, I kind of have a conspiracy theory that I'm developing about Eris, if we have truly averted the dark future. And that is that, I always think back to the story of Shin Malphur and his ghost, how it was originally Jaren Ward's, and when Jaren was dying, he told his ghost to go to Shin. And it's the only time we've ever heard of a ghost taking another guardian on after the death of its guardian.
Yeah.
What if Finch is able to sever the connection to his hive guardian and becomes Eris's new ghost?
I mean...
You want to talk about one hell of a comeback? Eris getting the light. And this is why I bring this up, because I want to read the armor pieces over the next few weeks, but there's a very touching moment between her and Crow in the lore this season where Crow fires up a golden gun and gives it to Eris so she can feel the light course through her body for the first time since she was in the pit of Crota.
Yeah.
It's just this really special, sentimental moment. She has that moment with him, and then she has some moments with Drifter also.
I mean,
Drifter's ghost.
That would totally make sense too, because she's she's obsessed with the hive, right? It just I don't know, it fits. It fits.
I would really love to see that. Not that I think that we will, but I would love to see it.
Sorry, I got distracted by the Star Wars Celebration thing where Hayden Christensen in front of the whole crowd says this is where the fun begins, and the crowd erupts. Did you see that clip?
Ian McGregor came out saying hello there.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah. As for the rest of the Dark Future, I think that we've probably avoided Zavala having the fate that he had. I don't think we've entirely avoided Anna's, though. I don't think we've avoided Anna's Dark Future. I think that really is contingent on us bringing Rasputin back first.
Yeah.
If we are able to bring back Rasputin, I think that anchors Anna. We know that she's kind of mind melding with him right now. Like the Scions were doing the Mindscape. She's kind of doing that with Rasputin right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's got to be a plot line before the end of the year, right? I wouldn't be shocked if we got something along that line this season too. With the moon being tied in and things like that. There were Seraph Towers on the moons, just saying. His array is in the Cosmodrome, so could something happen? Part of Mars has been uncovered. Could we get to Rasputin's bunker, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen here. So
I wonder if that's the final season where they... I don't know. I feel like, I feel like they're going to do so much. They could do so many things, Josh. Anyways. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got excited.
I'm
getting excited.
That's kind of... Yeah, I'm getting excited. I think that's probably about all we can say on the Dark Future. I want to see how some of the Sever events play out, specifically with Zavala. Because I think however Zavala and Keitel end up this season is really going to tell us a lot.
I mean, it could be a Dark Future, and then Lightfall could be Infinity War, and like you said, the time stuff. Maybe there's like a time heist. Maybe we become the new time looper. I don't know. I bet it's hinted at. But there's a point. There's like a turning point in the story where like, if our Guardian made one choice, it would be the dark timeline, but the story obviously will follow the light or something, and someone will be sacrificed, but it will be for the good of the light or something.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what we do, because we know we have to loop back around to Aramis and the Deepstone Crypt and Clovis Bray and all that at some point.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked to see a Braytech season, like Braytech / Rasputin season at some point.
Yeah.
That is still, Elsie's basically done nothing. Elsie's fish is mentioned in the lore this season, by the way, which is hilarious.
Oh, what?
I
forgot about
Eris
that
and
thing.
Drifter go to Europa to try and find Elsie, and they find her little Vex fish instead. So I know it was like kind of like a little nod.
Wait, so where is she? If her little fish not ghost?
I read it very quickly when I was half asleep. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head. But they go to the Ziggurat and stuff, and there's all sorts of interesting stuff that happens with Eris this season, in the lore. And with her and Drifter, like she knows Drifter's real name too, which is kind of funny to hear her call him Jermaine.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't like that.
I think that's a perfectly Drifter sounding name. It
No,
just sounds
I'm saying
stupid. It sounds stupid.
I just call him the Drifter. Jermaine. No, Drifter is fine. Thanks.
I mean, listen, she's getting in his space pants. Okay, it's happening. The 4 eyes is doing, or the 3 eyes is doing it for him, man.
Just an extra hole, you know what I'm saying, Josh? Ah.
Oh God. Okay, we're gonna go to lore corner so we can get out of here before Corey gives us any more horrible innuendos. This is for the seasonal artifact, the Nightmare Harvester. This is a letter from Eris to Ikora. To Ikora and to Zavala. The relic on Mars revealed much about the crown and Savathun's corporeal form. I have unwound a few precious mysteries that I believe can aid us. The crown's penchant for ensnaring cognition is well known, but the function by which it does this is a manipulation of the darkness, tethered by Hev incantations and ritual. It is not unlike how the pyramid projects nightmares from troubled people or phantoms from places of great loss. I am not so foolish as to attempt to access or wield the crown directly. We have all seen where that leads. Instead, with assistance from a trusted colleague, I have constructed a medium through which we may safely channel the crown's influence and bind nightmares until their essence can be contained for further research. My colleague dubbed this medium a harvester, an apt denotation. Until we know more about Callus's plans, this is our best course of action. I advise all fire teams undergoing deployment to the Leviathan to be outfitted with the harvester. Once they are attuned to it, possession of a harvester will offer a moderate level of warding, and more importantly, interaction with the apparitions projected by the pyramid. Interestingly, in moments of high energy concentration, the harvester, as if by reflex, will manifest a weapon through the wielder's will. I have included a list of materials required for the fabrication of the harvester. May it be the tool that turns the tide. Trust, Eris Morn. So the whole reason I wanted to bring this up is the identity of her colleague. Initially when I read this, I was like, well, the colleague is probably Osiris. And then I remembered Osiris is definitely still in a coma.
Right.
It has to be Drifter. There's nobody else that can. It's either Drifter or it's Marasov. Those are the only two.
It's got to be Drifter, though, right? I mean,
it's got to be Drifter. The armor sets this up to be Drifter.
Right.
So I like that. That's like really the only like major thing here is like Eris also acknowledging like the power of the crown, because don't forget Savathun had us go get the Crown of Sorrow from the Glycon because she wanted it in her possession. She was the one who created it originally, and wanted Callus to put it on himself to control him. Well, that's backfired in a pretty major way, and now we have the thing living in the helm with a tomb ship right there ready to jettison it off into space if it starts to corrupt people. So, spoiler alert, we're probably launching the tomb ship at some point this season. The crown is probably going bye-bye at some point this year. But I think this offers just a fascinating look at one of the more mysterious relics. Like, it's mysterious, yet we know more about this than almost any other Hive ritual or Hive relic at this point. It had its own raid. It had a special mission centered around it. Now it's the seasonal vendor, technically. Yeah. Instead of there being a servitor, instead of Insurrection Prime being there, we have another raid boss.
Yay.
Heyo, that means that at some point we're probably going to talk to Tanix's head, if the pattern keeps.
Oh my gosh, really?
How funny would that be if he was a seasonal vendor aboard the helm for Mithrax? Listen, his head is severed. It is sitting in Elsie's little igloo hut. I think that trophy should be allowed to hang out in my room aboard the helm. I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah. But
just give it to me.
You said vendor, and I thought my first thought was just like the head floating in the ball in the Haunted Mansion at Disney. But Tanix.
Oh, dude, if you're gonna Madame Leota this, I'm down.
Oh man, Tanix just doesn't go away. It's fine.
Tanix is forever. Tanix is life.
Yes. Tanix is
Corey.
Life. That's the new shirt I'm gonna get. Tanix is life.
Corey, get us out of here before we have more bad ideas.
Oh man, how much time do we got, Josh? I got a bunch of bad ideas if you want me
Nope, we're done. We're done.
I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Tower Casuals. You can email the show at towercasuals@gmail.com. I want to thank all of our listeners who wrote in questions for tonight's episode. If you listen on iTunes or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star rating and or review. It really helps us out. Josh, as always, thank you for your time tonight. Where can we find you?
Twitter at Josh_Finn, 2 N's. Come listen to me bemoan about the Mavericks off-season that is impending as of the time of this recording. We avoided the full sweep. Nobody sweeps the 2021-2022 Dallas Mavericks. Instead, we're going to get gentlemen swept, and that's okay. So I'll probably be complaining about the off-season for a while. And, lots of Destiny. We've got Xbox Summer Showcase coming up in like 2 weeks.
I know, dude. Every time I think about it, I'm like, that's like a month away. And I'm like, no, it's like in 2 weeks. So it's
like in 2 weeks. Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley is in less than 2 weeks.
We'll have to talk about that. The summer.
June 9th.
We'll have to talk about Summer Game Fest.
I'm excited though. Showcase. This is a really fun time. God of War Ragnarok is on the horizon.
Got rated.
I'm gonna go see Top Gun next week.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
People like it, I hear.
I turn 30 next week.
Ooh, you're getting old, Josh.
Yeah. Oh, dude, there's so much gray in my hair. It's not even funny. My family's been pointing it out for like 3 years, and I'm like, yeah, that's because of stress, right?
My beard.
So the reason that a 28-year-old starts turning gray is under stress and intense emotional distress. So,
my beard has so many gray hairs in it now. Like last year at this time, there was like a couple, and I was like, okay, 1 or 2 on this side, whatever. There's it's really noticeable now, and it makes me upset. But it's fine.
Get us out of here, Corey.
You can find me at I am Corey and HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me hosting my other podcast, the Boss Rush Podcast, if you want to hear about other games and movies and stuff. Like I said, fan of this show, Andre was on. That show will be out next Friday, so you can check that out. Just one last thing. Be kind to each other. Hug the ones you love. And just be a little bit better than you were the day before. Well, thank you everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.